James was much admired on the island of Sodor. When he was pulling a passenger train, the passengers always admired him before he was off, and often thanked him for a splendid run. The workmen were always happy when he arrived, because they trusted him.
You're simply the best engine, James. Always smart and clean. Always on time. In fact, the most reliable engine we know,
they said. This made James very proud, and he often let the other engines know what everyone on the island had said to him.
I am simply the best,
he bragged in the sheds in the yard. One day, Thomas, Percy and Edward had to work at the yards at the docks, loading coal into trucks. This coal was a mixed load, which needed to be taken to a huge coal hopper, which sorted out the best grade coal for the important passenger and goods train duties, and the other grade coal for the shunters and less important work. Because Thomas, Percy and Edward were busy loading up the trucks and shunting them into sidings, the Fat Controller gave the job of taking the loaded trucks to the hopper to James. James hated this work. It seemed every time he worked with coal, it rained, making his lovely red paint filthy. It often took the yardmen 2 days to get him sparkling clean again. When James arrived at the docks, it was indeed raining. The Fat Controller spoke to him.
James, I've chosen you to do this job because you're a mixed traffic engine. As soon as you've finished, you may do your favorite farmland run as a reward. Now off you go.
And that was that. Although James loved the Fat Controller's praise, he still hated the task ahead.
Come on, old boy. We'll soon be done. You'll see.
But when they arrived, there was much confusion. The rain poured down, and the crane men refused to work any longer.
There's a threat of thunder and lightning. That's us finished until it passes,
said one to James's driver. James complained bitterly as they sorted out their trucks, but there was nothing he could do about it. Engines worked come snow, storm or floods.
an engine's job is never done, and be grateful for that,
said his fireman. James was in a filthy mood when he arrived at the hopper. His task was tricky, but not that difficult. The hopper was a huge slanting tower. A truckload of coal would be pushed onto the hopper's platform at the base of the tower. Then this platform would be mechanically lifted to the top, where the men would guide it to the tipper. The truck was then lifted and tipped into a special hopper that sorted out the best coal from the not so good. The empty was then returned to ground level, which was on a slight slope. The empty would then self-propel itself out the way so another full one could take its place. After the coal had been sorted out, it was then loaded into trucks under the hopper. As this was covered by a roof, it created masses of dust that would cover any engine working with the hopper. The work seemed slow. James's train of trucks was long, and he was slowly getting dirtier and dirtier. This made him more and more impatient.
Come on, come on!
He yelled angrily.
I've got more important things to do than watch you trucks being unloaded.
But the trucks would have none of it. They knew James and his outbursts.
You're just like a big red pimple.
And we all know what we do to red pimples, don't we? Pop them!
And the trucks all laughed. This made James even angrier, and he treated them roughly. Then the thunder and lightning came. James soon grew more impatient. Then it happened. There were only 2 full trucks left to be hoisted, as James biffed them hard into place.
Come on, come on,
he snarled. Little did he know that his front coupling had become tangled up in the trucks. Suddenly a bolt of lightning struck the hopper, which caused it to go out of control. The work snatched at the hoist and lifted the truck at quite a speed. As the front truck was lifted, it dragged the back one with it, and along with that, James. James could feel he was being lifted, but he was far too heavy for the winch, which came grinding to a sudden halt. Coal was already spilling from the back truck all over James. He couldn't see anything. Then the first trunk fell off, pulling the other with it, which in turn pulled James right off the rails. As he lay on his side, coal spilled all over him and nearly covered him. He was done for, and there was nothing anyone could do until the breakdown train arrived. James was taken to the works to be mended. The Fat Controller was most annoyed at him.
You must learn to control your temper, James. Otherwise...
and left James to think about what otherwise might mean. The following day, after the storm had cleared, things got back to normal. But the Fat Controller wanted, more than anything, to clear the huge line of coal trucks in the dockyards. So he found a diesel. The other engines were most upset, and felt much better when he told them that the diesel was only there to clear the trucks away.
After his job is done, he will be dispatched back to the mainland.
The diesel, who was named E.D., was a bad worker. He kept breaking down, and was not as powerful as he looked. One day, whilst in the yards, a sudden thunderstorm came. Lightning hit the rails right in front of the diesel. Smoke poured out of his engine covers. And when it cleared, somehow the diesel looked different.
I feel marvelous! Please take me for a run!
He said to his driver, who agreed. His driver couldn't believe the power in E.D. For some reason, the electric shock from the lightning had converted E.D. into Super E.D. He sped everywhere. Now instead of only managing to pull a few trucks, he could pull masses of them. The dockyards were cleared in no time. The Fat Controller was most impressed.
I shall try you out on my express passenger services,
he said excitedly. E.D. was delighted. He felt so good he thought he could work all day and all night. But he forgot about his driver and engineer.
We need our sleep,
they told him. So E.D. had to stay in the yard close to the engine shed. All the engines made rude remarks about him and wished him wherever they could. But no matter what they did, E.D. whizzed here, there, and everywhere. Everyone waited to see him rush by. He sped through tunnels, across the countryside, and through crowded mainline stations. In fact, he was going so fast that Gordon's speed record was under threat, which annoyed Gordon and the other engines immensely. Soon, E.D. was nicknamed Super Ed. Posters appeared all over the island. "Get ahead with Super Ed," they proclaimed. Even Ed's driver and engineer became special, and they wore brand new uniforms with a badge with Ed's face on it. The Fat Controller had never known business to be so good before. He stood proudly on the platform outside his office and admired Ed. People came up and shook his hand and told him what a splendid railway he was running, and how he was using Super Ed, and they wanted more like him. This was very disturbing news for the other engines. They blamed James for everything, no matter what. When he returned from the works, they wouldn't let him into the shed.
You can stay out there with your new pal Super Ed.
It was your fault he arrived, so you can suffer all his insults,
they said. So James had to stay with Ed in the siding. Ed was very chatty.
Just can't wait till there's nothing but a diesel working this yard. Your steam engines are messy, slow, and noisy. I hate them. But I must say, I do like you, James. If it wasn't for you, no one would have known just how useful I really am. Powerful and speedy too. That's me. You know, James, main lines were built for the likes of me. All you old choppers, all good fool is the shutting yard. You can be as dirty and smoky as you want there. Leave the main lights up to me. I mean, clean and clean. That's why they call me Super. You old smokies are good for scrap.
He laughed and sniggered away, leaving James to fume on the siding. He wanted to pay the puffed up diesel out, but he just couldn't think of a way to do it.
Don't worry, James. That diesel's just a flash in the pan. He won't last. You mark my words,
said his driver, and he was right. The next day, Gordon was waiting for his train in the yards outside Titmus Station. A storm was brewing overhead and was delaying things for him. Just then, Super Ed came alongside.
I suppose you're waiting for the storm to pass. Well, nothing stops me. I'm a diesel electric, and I like storms. That's why they call me Super. Cause I'm super at everything, no matter the weather,
said Ed, and he purred happily, waiting for a signal to move off. Just then a bolt of lightning struck Gordon's front buffer and zinged onto Ed. It seemed to spread all over him in a series of streaks. Ed's engine coughed and spluttered, then thick smoke began billowing from the vents of his engine covers. His driver tried everything to make him move, but Ed was all seized up. More and more smoke poured from his engine. The smoke drifted into the station, making everyone cough and splutter. It was so dense no one could see where it was coming from. The Fat Controller appeared on the platform. He was furious.
Get rid of that smoke. If it's an engine, then it should be scrapped. I'll see to that. You mark my words.
He roared, little knowing that it was Super Ed, his new star engine. And that was the end for Super Ed. He never worked again. James and Gordon had to take him away. James made a few remarks about dirty, smoky engines ought to be scrapped, but James's driver made them laugh the most.
Well, it took a bolt from the blue to make ED super, but it was a bolt from the blue steam engine that did for him.
Gordon was everyone's hero. He made sure James was welcome back to the sheds again.
But remember one thing,
said Gordon sternly.
Those trucks might make you see red, but it fare better seeing red than that Super Ed.
And they all laughed. James, the red engine, behaved much better after that.
Get ahead with Super E.D.
God, just reading, just a side note, reading the script, like, just the David Mittens, like, that, it's awful story, that seriously I'm glad that Britt was just like, yeah, maybe not.
Oh me! Oh my! Help!